Together class. Today we are going to be training our down dog. So this can be particularly important because so often in the yoga practice, down dog is a big part of it, but we're not necessarily always taught to support our whole body and the whole structure of our core in the most safe and sustainable ways. Don't worry, have no fear. Today is all about training our down dogs so that we can find this really awesome, freeing, and powerful position time and time again throughout our whole lives. So you don't need a block or anything like that for today's practice, but hey, as always, if you want to have one with you, it definitely won't hurt. Help get that floor a little bit closer, help you find some different things that we go through today. But to get started, on your back, whether you have that block or not, we're just going to get everything situated onto the floor. So once you feel your feet on the floor and really bring your attention to the back of your hips. This is called your sacrum here, right where the tailbone meets the two sides of your pelvis, the ilium bones there. We want to feel that grounded onto the floor because this will be a big part of training our downward facing dog. Feeling the back of the pelvis, the sacrum, which again is connected to the floor there, becoming the peak of our body. And so that won't be the case here in this little ramp, but we're getting familiar with how it feels on that ground so that we can really bring our mind into this particular area of the body. And then press into your feet, really squeeze your glutes. We're gonna lift our hips upward. So the hips are coming up, we're getting a little expansion into the front of the hips here. The glutes are squeezing, we're rooting the tailbone, and we're feeling some length come in here. Now, you're going to take both of your hands and just kind of like cupping the sides of your pelvis here, which you just get on each side of like the rim of the pelvis. You can feel how it's like this little ovular shape that we've got going on here. So you're just going to squeeze in there, like literally, like you're trying to squeeze your hands together. There really won't be much movement that happens here. Your pelvis is a pretty solid structure. Again, just bringing that awareness into the bowl of the pelvis. This might help you feel if like there is a little bit of that tip that's going into the low back. So if you feel it tipping forward, tips aren't going to go into the low back for you. So if you can root that tailbone a little bit more, you might be someone who's really posteriorly rounded, in which case you may need to push into the feet and try and get more expansion into those hips. But notice your own individual things here and just try to feel, again, that nice alignment where it feels like your whole body is just like one ramp here from the knees on the upper level all the way down to the shoulders at the ground level, helping raise it up. Then we'll take our hands up towards the ceiling. Also being in down dog is about opening up the palms and getting our hands connected into the ground. Spreading weight pretty equally between the arms and the legs. So we'll take our left hand across the right four fingers and we'll pull them back towards the face. This will already start to get a little awareness and some waking up into your shoulder here. With the right thumb spread away from the center of the palm. Feel another inhale here. Everything gathers. Exhaling, drawing the front line of the body into the back line of the body. So really feel that belly button pull down towards the low back. Things are working here. We want to feel it waking up. Yeah, sorry, it's work. You're going to release the right wrist and circle it a few times. But this is exactly what these glutes need when they are so sleepy, so snoozy on us. We'll take our left hand and pull back. So you just get those four fingers, you pull it back and you get that thumb moving away too. Start to lift and lower your hips here as well. So now we're going to introduce a little bit of movement in the hips. We're just going an inch low and inch high. Small movement here. If you feel this in your low back, come lower. Squeeze your glutes more. We don't want those low back muscles overworking for us. Like, yeah, they're part of the equation. But the glutes are really the big engine here that's facilitating this movement. Then you can release the left wrist, just circle both of our wrists a few times, go both directions. Again, we want these wrists prepared to get going. And then we'll bring ourselves down, so you can use the abdominals to lower the upper, middle, and then low back all the way down into the ground. Take your hands behind your head and interlace your fingers. We're gonna bring our palms right behind our skull, onto the back of the neck, elbows come in. Big inhale here. Gather your whole breath in the torso and then exhale. Feel it all pull together and the shoulder blades come off of the floor. So it's this action of pulling down into the low back area with the front of the body that helps to lift those shoulder blades up. Inhale and lower. Exhale and lift. You're going to pull the shoulder blades off the floor by gathering in the whole torso. Then kick your left leg directly up. So it's just going straight up. You're spreading those toes. Left foot comes down. Inhale, lower. Exhale and lift. We're going to draw to that core. Kick the right leg up. So another concept in that down dog we're going to keep in mind, holding the core steady while moving the limbs. Right foot comes down. Inhale and lower. Exhale and lift. Shoulder blades come up. Kick the left foot high and reach the right arm up as well. So it's like right arm reaching, left foot reaching, everything gathering into the center. Left foot comes down, right hand comes back. Inhale. Exhale, everything draws together. Lift the shoulder blades off the floor. We'll kick the right foot up and reach that left arm up. Everything just spreads here. We'll get the toes open, waking up. Right foot comes down, left hand comes back behind the head. Inhale, lower. Exhale and lift. Left foot kicks up. Right arm reaches. Big part of down dog 2 is the upper body and the lower body working together. So make a fist with that right hand and push your right elbow into the ground. Now feel everything lighting up. Right shoulder is getting even more connected into the floor. Right hand comes back, left foot comes down, inhale and lower. Exhale and lift, everything gathers together. Right foot kicks up, left arm reaches, make a fist, and then pull that left elbow down, just next to you into the ground. That little press can help activate your shoulder. Right foot comes down, left hand comes back, inhale and lower. Exhale and lift, left leg kicks up, right arm reaches, press that right elbow down into the ground. Let your shoulder blade really hug those back ribs. And then right hand comes back, left foot comes down, inhale, exhale and lift. Everything gathers together. Right leg kicks up, left arm reaches, make a fist and press that left elbow down into the ground. Everything gathers together. Left hand back, right foot down, inhale and lower. Wiggle your feet wide on the mat so that you're a little bit wider than the space of your mat. Then drop your knees off to the right. The knees to the right. You're going to press your left foot, the inner edge of it, especially your heel, into the ground. Then direct your tailbone down to that heel. So feel like mentally you're kind of pulling your tailbone to the heel. Let the left glute squeeze, and it's as if it's trying to push its way through the hip, opening up there. Bring ourselves back through center. Knees will come over to the left, so you're pressing the inner arch of the right foot, especially that right heel, into the ground. Then fire up the right glute, and then use the power of the right glute with the tailbone mentally pointing down towards the ground. Help keep that space in the low back, with that right glute fired up, and helping to open up, free the space in the front of the right hip here. Not about a big twist, but it's really more about helping to uncork the front of this hip here. We'll bring yourself back through center. Next one will be really quick. We'll send the legs up. They don't have to be super straight or anything like that. Just in the air, feeling alive. So spread your toes. Point your toes, flex them back. I'm in favor of just whatever's going to make you feel the most energized in your feet. So we'll take the hands behind the head. Again, legs are either up towards the ceiling or getting close. But the knees do not have to straighten by any means. In fact, real quick here with the legs up, just take a moment. Feel your sacrum on the ground. Don't let this thing tip or lean forward, even when we're lowering the leg. Try to keep that sacrum on the ground. Oops, I gave something away. Hands behind the head, elbows come in. Inhale, exhale, and lift. Everything draws together. Reach your toes even more towards the ceiling as you lift the shoulders. Then lower your left leg. And just lower that left leg a little bit again. Notice if your sacrum kind of tipped and you lifted your low back, keep that sacrum on the ground. Back of the pelvis, left leg comes back up, inhale, lower. Exhale and lift. Everything draws together. Right leg lowers. It's just an inch or two. Maybe at the most you're at 45 degrees. Not super low. Just focusing on keeping that strength in the core. Right leg up, inhale. Exhale and lift. Everything gathers together. Left leg lowers. Then reach your right arm forward. This time we're pushing our fingertips into the ground, feeling our shoulder blade lock down and light up. Bring that left leg back up. Right hand comes back. Inhale, lower. Exhale and lift. Everything gathers together. Lower the right leg just a few inches towards the floor. Reach the left arm and then push the fingertips down into the ground. So my fingertips are tenting here, getting that shoulder blade locked in again. We'll bring that left hand back, right leg back. Inhale and lower. Last one each side. One more thing. Exhale and lift. Left leg lowers. Right arm reaches. Fingertips press. And then take your left hand from behind your head. If it feels okay, reach your
left arm past your right thigh. So you're adding a little twist in there, really hugging into the belly. Left hand comes back, left leg comes back, right hand comes back, inhale, lower. Exhale, lift, right leg lowers. Take that left hand, reach it forward, fingertips hit the ground. Bring your right arm across the left leg. If it feels okay, reaching for that shoulder blade. Energize the legs. Right leg comes back, right hand comes back, left hand comes back, inhale, and lower. Wow. So now take everything you just turned on into your core. Hey, check my shirt out. And bring yourself into your quadruped. So more core is always the answer. You're going to bring your quadruped. You're going to bring yourself into your quadruped by bringing your hands underneath the shoulders. Knees can get into the hips or even a little bit closer. Right off the bat, tuck your toes here. I want you to spread your fingers, grab the floor with those fingertips, and really like plug into this space right where those fingertips meet the palms. It's really going to get you locked into that floor. And then your hands won't actually move. But feel like you could dial your left hand out to the left, your right hand out to the right. Feel how that helps to wrap those elbows in, and more importantly, it hugs your shoulder blade onto the back ribs, centers the shoulder head. And then we're going to whip the toes tucked. So we just did all that good core work too. Your belly is going to stay lifting into that low back space. Tuck your toes, push into your hands and your toes, and hover your knees. Your shoulder blades are just going to sit on your back ribs. So right off the bat, I want you to notice if your head fell, you're really rounding your back. Yeah. Pull that core in, get long. Training your dog. Lower the knees down. And that's the thing, right? Anyone who's ever trained a dog knows, like, you just got to do it over and over again and keep reminding them, right? Training a puppy. Pushing the hands, pushing the toes, cover the knees. It's like, nope, don't go inside. We're going to go outside, but that's okay because we're just learning, and we're going to teach it, and we're going to bring those knees down. So now you're going to find your first downward facing dog. Now again, weight is in the hands. Weight is going to be in those toes. Keep the weight pretty equal between your legs and your hands. One more time, hover your knees in quadruped, and then hoist your pelvis up towards the ceiling. So I say hoist because, like, really imagine like a flag getting drawn up the flagpole. Just go straight up there. So your weight's probably pretty equal between your hands and your feet. If you did bring it straight up, notice if you kind of fell into your, we'll just call it less optimal habit of dropping your chest back towards your legs. So you, again, want to look at your hands, pressing your hands so much, you almost feel like you're lifting your forearms away from the floor. Again, let's look at those hands for a moment and give them the same cue of feel like you could dial your left hand out to the left. Feel like you can dial your right hand out to the right and spread the toes. Everything is on and strong here. Now push onto your toes, lift your heels just a little bit, bend your knees a bit, see if that doesn't give you a little more freedom in the low back. And then from here too, once you really concentrate on your leg bones, right where they plug into your hip sockets. Energetically, feel like you could lift those leg bones up and into your hip sockets and really press down into your big toe mounds and your fingers. Feel all that lift. And we're going to start to move in this downward facing dog. So move your left foot back and your right hand back at the same time. It's like a little baby bear walk. Then we're going to move our right foot back and our left hand. We'll do that a couple times. Obviously, you run out of space, start to go forward. So we'll just go forward and back on this mat. We've definitely done this move before. Once or twice, called walking the dog, baby bear walk. You're on your hands and your feet. You're trying your best to, again, train your dog and move opposite arm and leg. It's actually harder than you'd think to get the brain to communicate with the body and to go with the opposites. You'll notice, like, you'll get into a rhythm, and then all of a sudden your eyes like, oh, just my right side moving, just my left side moving. Really nice. Awesome. And then whenever you come into the middle of the mat, we're all going to lower our forearms down onto the ground. Dolphin. 3 big breaths here. Spread your toes. Bend your knees as much as you have to. Keep pushing into those forearms. 2 more breaths. Inhale. Spread your shoulder blades. Lift your low ribs into your back. Push your toes more. 1 more. And then knees lower. Woo! You can come to child's pose with the hips back, or the hips can be over top of the knees. When you do that, I like to make a little pillow for my forehead with my forearms, just because we're so high up here. When your hips are further back, you can kind of just rest your forehead straight up on the ground. Give your forehead a little something to rest on, and maybe even rock side to side, like, you know, you're nodding your head no. That can be a really nice massage for the forehead. So with those furrow brow muscles relaxed, we'll bring ourselves up and
just find our space at the wall for our weekly down dog / dolphin on the wall. Now, all week I've been showing the couch variations, so I'm going to stick with it here as well. If you have a wall space, come straight to that wall. The couch setup is actually just like a wall setup, only I'm using a couch instead. There's one tiny difference. Whereas on a wall, you're pretty much just going to walk your legs up in line with your hips. You're going to be a little more limited on the couch or something. You're going to bring your feet right to the very tippy top edge of the surface that you're at. So if it's like a chair, it's right at the front little edge of that chair. Just make sure that chair is against the wall. Again, I got a nice big couch here. Make sure whatever you're putting your feet on, that's why the wall's maybe the best option, will not move on you. Okay, so measure your legs out here. So we've got our feet touching the surface. We're taking our hands next to each side of our pelvis where we were wrapping our hands around at the beginning of that bridge. Then your hands are going to stay in the same place, but we're going to flip ourselves around into quadruped. So you're facing the other way towards the floor now, and your hands are on the ground. Now for down dog on the wall, you're going to keep those palms in place. If you want your forearms stand on the wall, bring your elbows down onto the floor. They replace your palms here. Now from a quadruped, we're going to lift into down dog. So lift your knees, hoist your pelvis up towards the ceiling, come onto your toes and bring your heels right up against either the couch or the wall. Look at your hands again, press into those hands, grab the floor with the fingers, so you can dial your left hand out to the left, your right hand out to the right. And then walk your feet up onto the very edge of the couch or up the wall. So if you're on the couch, even here, I can only put one foot on my little armrest. This is my footrest now, so I'm just gonna stack it. Maybe switch that up. Keep breathing. Be cautious. One thing I'll see a lot, people will go to the couch, but then their feet are really far back on it. So it's not really a great position for my shoulders. I want to get that stacking. And just breathe with it. Come down, check out your wrists where you need, roll your shoulders. What you want to maintain is, again, we're practicing bringing our pelvis over top of our shoulders for 3 big reasons. One, to prepare the muscles for weight bearing upside down. It's everything's firing up, and it's learning how to do it from a really strong and controlled place. We're also stacking pelvis over shoulders to get our brain and our body used to that feeling of being upside down. It's not something we do every single day. So every time we get that feeling of the pelvis coming up over the shoulders in a really controlled way, like a dolphin or down dog on the wall, then we're training the balance in the body to be upside down, and to be a little bit more used to a condition that is totally possible, and that I can vouch for it. You can exist in it for at least a few seconds and, be totally fine. But you have to get used to it, because it is a little bit different. So maybe come away from the wall, the couch, finish up your last couple breaths if you're still on it. If you're watching a recording, you're just really getting after it, pause it, and when you're ready, come on up to the top. Oh, just when you think you got it all figured out. All right, come on up to the top. You realize you got to go back and retrain your down dog. So come on up to the top of the mat. We'll get ourselves ready to go. Leave a little space for your fingers or your hands to hit the ground. That's going to be really important because, again, one thing we're really training here is the shoulder, getting on everything, learning how to work in that down dog. So in your mountain pose, you're just standing tall, strong at the top of the mat. Think the shoulders over the hips, very much in the same way that on down dog on the wall, you were doing the opposite, getting your pelvis over top of the shoulders. Inhale, reach the arms forward and up. So go forward to clear the space for your shoulders, and exhale, hinge at the hips. The hands or fingertips come down onto the ground. Right foot steps back, right knee comes down, top of the foot comes down, and inhale, arms reach forward and up. So you're like a 90-90 low lunge with the right glute on and the tailbone rooting. Everything is opening up in the front body. Hands come down. Plant your palms firm on the ground. We're stepping back into planks. High push-up position. Left leg is back, next to the right, glutes are working. Knees lower to the ground for this first one. Super important. Make sure the core is working. Look at the left hand, look at the right hand. Maybe feel like you could dial them both out. It's going to help get those shoulder blades on the back ribs. Slowly lower all the way to the ground. We're going nice and slow with the head of the arm bones lifted. So if you've collapsed your shoulders towards the ground, that's okay. Just pull back with your hands a little bit. Feel your shoulder blades come onto your back ribs. It's going to lift your chest. It's going to be a much better place for you to be in. Tuck your toes, lift, downward facing dog. So come back to that down dog. Why? Because we want the shoulder heads centered in the arm socket. Don't roll them forward like they usually are. Right foot steps forward, left knee comes down. Inhale, arms reach forward and up. You can untuck the top of the foot. You're going to kick that left foot in. So we're practicing holding these arm bones centered. Why? So many of us rounded, rounded, rounded. It's pushing in. Now we're going to take it back, get that space. Hands come down, fingertips or palms, left foot steps to meet the right. Exhale at the top of the mat. You're hinging at your hips, ribs are touching the top of the thighs. Push into the feet. Let the hips go back a little bit in order to raise yourself up and stand up tall with that long engaged spine. Exhale, hinge at the hips, hands come down. Left foot steps back. Left knee comes down. You keep the toes tucked and inhale, reach the arms forward and up. Of course, if that's not comfortable, for the bottom of your foot, you can always untuck again. Hands come down, palms plant. Step back into plank. Shoulders are on those back ribs. Lower the knees, lower all the way to the floor. Head of the arm bones stay lifted. Everything else comes down. Pull back your hands for cobra. Inhale, lift, downward, facing dog. Feet walk in. Left foot steps forward, right knee comes down. You can keep the toes tucked. Inhale, arms reach forward and up. Always welcome to untuck them if that's working better for you. Reach with your arms, but pull those low ribs in. Hands or fingertips come down in front of the left foot. Step the right foot to meet the left. Exhale. Inhale, arms reach forward and up. Exhale, hinge the hips, hands come down. Step the right foot back, right knee comes down. Toes can stay tucked. This time, bring your palms directly in front of the chest. I want you to feel your shoulder blades hug towards each other. So we're hugging those shoulder blades together, just retracting them a little bit. And then feel like your shoulder blades could pull down towards your hips. So a little bit of what's called scapula depression there. We're locking these shoulder blades onto the back ribs. Hands come down. Plant your palms and slide your left knee back to meet the right in quadruped. Toes are tucked again. We're not going to round our back, but push into the hands and push into the toes equally. Hover your knees. Then hoist your pelvis directly up towards the ceiling. Don't worry about dropping your heels towards the ground. They can relax a little bit towards the ground, and that might help you lengthen it out a little bit. But allow the bend in the knees to help you lift the belly and keep everything working strong here. And then from here, take one more big breath. Plug into the hands, feel your forearms are lifting away from the floor. Then you'll step the right foot forward, step the left foot forward without picking up your hands, hinge at your hips. Inhale, arms reach forward and up. Exhale, hinge at your hips. Hands come down, step the left foot back, left knee comes down. Toes can stay tucked. Inhale, arms reach forward and up. Think of lengthening the side body as you reach those arms up, and then bring those hands down in front of the chest. We're going to pull the shoulder blades together, retracting along the back ribs, doing a little slide down depression of those shoulder blades down towards the pelvis. Looks like you're really trying to pull your shoulder blade down there. Then bring the hands down. Firmly plant them on the ground. Make your left hand dial out to left. Right hand dial out to the right. They won't actually move. We're setting those shoulder blades on the back ribs and sliding the right foot back in quadruped. On all fours, we're crawling position here. Check in with that neck. If it's dipping, then we're already kind of behind the starting line. Let's let that throat bring that neck up to the starting line. With the hands and the toes tucking into the ground and pressing equally, hover the knees, and then hoist your pelvis towards the ceiling. So think of just hoisting that pelvis up, and let's all push into the toes, which you extend your ankles to that opening, and then relax your ankles down towards the ground. So push into them, bend them, then relax them down towards the ground. And then just go back and forth between these two, continuing to spread your toes. Now, notice though, as we're opening up the ankles, we're not letting our chest move. So you can even take a look at me here. What I mean is, if your chest was moving, you'd feel like the collapse back and the pull forward. My chest's not going to move at all. It's really just my ankles moving. I'm shifting physically forward and back in space. But because I'm pressing my hands in the ground, feeling that dialing out of the left hand, that dialing out of the right hand without actually moving them, I'm able to sit my shoulder blades on those back ribs. Then you can come to whatever's a comfortable down dog for you, so as much ankle extension or relaxation as feels good. Now I want you to step your right foot forward, left foot forward, hinge at the hips. Exhale, inhale, arms reach forward and up. Exhale, hinge at the hips, Hands come down, step or hop back, plank pose. So you're back in that plank, glutes are working. You can still lower the knees or lower all the way to the ground. Head of the arm bones stay lifted. Pull back your hands for cobra or reach your arms back and squeeze the legs together in locust. Hands come down, lift, downward facing dog. Feet walk in. So again, where are we at? Weight is equal in the hands and the feet. Don't collapse that chest back. Feel like the forearms are lifting away from the floor. Femur bones lifting up into the hips. Take a big breath in here. Step the left foot forward without picking up the hands. Step the right foot forward without picking up the hands. Don't worry about how far forward you get. Worry about connecting into your shoulders. Lift, inhale, arms reach forward. Now, stand up tall. Exhale, hinge at the hips. So we connect into these shoulders to get our body something that it's missing in its everyday life. Step back into plank. Not using these hands nearly as much for that weight bearing. Lower the knees or lower all the way to the floor. Head, the arm bones stay lifted. Pull back your hands with cobra or reach it back in locust. Glutes are on. Lift your belly into your low back. Don't lift with that low back and push the hips down. Hands come down. Press. Downward facing dog. Your down dog. Big breath here. Press into those hands. Feel your forearms are lifting away from the floor. Feel like you can dial your hands out. Feel the leg bones lifting up and the pelvis. Remember that sacrum? Make it the peak of the pose, like you're trying to hoist that on up. So from here, we'll step the left foot forward, step the right foot forward without picking up the hands. Inhale, arms reach forward and up. Exhale, into the hips, hands come down. Step or hop back, plank pose. Lower, knees are not. Everything comes down, head of the arm bones stay lifted. Pull back your hands for cobra. Lift, downward facing dog. In this downward facing dog, take a little moment for a twist. So you're gonna keep your right hand on the ground. Again, try not to collapse your chest. Take your left hand and grab some part of your right leg that makes sense. So I say that because for some people, the thigh will be great. For some people, the shin will be great. And for some people, the ankle will be great. But your left hand is grabbing your right leg here. You're pushing into that right hand. You can look under your right armpit, still a down dog with a twist. Still pressing into those feet. Strong and engaged. You can kind of let the neck release here a little. Right hand still grabbing the floor, strong. Bring the left hand back. You're back in down dog. Right hand grab. Somewhere that makes sense. On your left leg, thigh, ankle, calf. Probably the more range of motion you have, you might be able to go a little bit lower, but don't worry about that. Keep pressing into the left hand. Keep that left shoulder blade on. So this is what that good, strong center humeral head will feel like. Right hand comes forward, we're back in that downward facing dog. And then without picking up your hands, step your left foot just far forward as it'll go. Then step it back into down dog. So left foot goes back into down dog. Left foot again. Just step it as far forward as it'll go. Don't pick up the hand, keep your shoulders connected to the ground and step it back. So you gotta keep your core lifted. Feel that belly lift into the low back. Step the left foot forward, then step it back. Two more. Step it forward without picking up the hands and step it back. One time, step it forward, feel that power, and then we're opening up to goddess. So to the right, we're gonna open it up and sit down into the hips. Now in your goddess pose here, you're gonna do a little goal post with the arms. Right off the bat, notice, turn to the side to show this. If your ribs are popping and your tailbone's pointing, get them to come back into alignment. So again, contain your rib basket between the shoulders and the hips. Don't just let all that spill out. Because guess where it's going? Into the low back. So you're going to go post those arms, make little fists, and then point those forearms to be in line with the ground. We're going to retract our shoulder blades. So squeeze them together, and then reach one arm over the other, and just kind of crisscross them. Then you'll retract again, and you'll do the opposite arm in front. You'll retract and reach. So it's a little retract and reach. Got this. Again, it can be really tempting when you squeeze your shoulder blades together. Pop your ribs forward. Like the movie Alien, if you ever saw that. That's what it looks like. So hold that in, contain it, and stay gutsy. Don't let the alien pop out of the chest. Keep it contained. There you go. All right. Let's just get one more each arm. I want you to hold that retraction for a moment, so the elbows back and the little fists here. Then reach the arms out, make like a big hugging motion. Palms are facing forward, coming to twisted crescent. So cycle back to the front of the mat. Follow the right arm around. Land your right foot about like 1.5 feet outside that left foot. So it's inside the front step, but it's like, wide. And then we're bringing the left hand around onto the right glute. Press your left hand down into that right glute, and then give it feedback by pressing that right glute back up into that left glute. Everything's on and fired up here. Then you'll lower your right knee down and come into kneeling side plank. Left leg goes back. Breathing here. So the left leg is up, right knee's underneath of us, right hand's on the ground. We could also scoot our right foot out a little bit behind us. Look down at your right hand and make sure your right palm's plugging into the ground. Right pointer finger, right where it plugs into the ground. Really feel that thing connecting. Belly is on. Left hand comes down, left knee comes down. We're back in that quadruped. We'll bring our left arm under, the right arm, come to the little thread, the needle. So now you're getting an upper body twist here, finding that little bit of length. You can breathe through the lips. And then use the strength of the right hand, press into the floor, bring the left arm back, underneath the left shoulder, quadruped, tuck the toes, press into the hands and feet equally, hoist your pelvis up towards the ceiling. This time, we'll start with the left hand on the ground and reach your right arm towards the left leg. So you're doing your twisted down dog again, getting a little rotation, holding that core in strong. Just one breath on this one. Really try to breathe into your left side ribs. Right hand comes down, right hand stays firm, and we'll bring the left hand onto anywhere on that right leg that makes sense. Inhale. I really mean that. Just be intuitive about it. Do what makes sense for your body. Left hand comes down. 5 times here, so get ready. Hands are going to stay plugged onto the ground. Right off the bat, let's check in. Where is your weight? Is it like 70% in the feet and 30% in the hands? Let's bring it to 50-50. Equality, people. We're going to step the right foot forward. Don't pick up the hands. Don't even worry about how far forward it goes. Just keep that belly lifted. Then step it back into down dog. You'll step the right foot forward with the hands glued to the ground, and then send it back. Down dog. Step it forward. Step it back. Step it forward. Again, the chest really isn't changing much. We're just changing the position of the foot. Step it forward. Goddess. Open up. Left side leads you around. So we bring the arms in the goalposts. Make little fists. Point those forearms in line with the floor. Don't let the ribs pop here. Point your tailbone down to the ground. And then retract. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. And then crisscross. Reach one arm over the other. And then retract. Crisscross the opposite arm over. Just keep going like that. Changing it up. And so your goddess doesn't even have to be super low or super wide. In fact, if you're someone with tight hips and your goddess, I'll turn around to show, your goddess looks like this, that's beautiful. That's great. You're opening up the hips in the degree that they want to open up to right now. So let's not stretch for it, but let's operate from a place where we feel like we're getting 100% out of the motion. And then one more time, retract them, hold it, reach the arms out, make that big hugging position with the arms, and then windmill back to the front of the mat. So the left hand comes around inside that right foot. Just for a moment here, like a twisted crescent, bring the right hand around onto the left glute. That's going to press down into it and lift the left glute up. Left hand is down. Then left knee comes down. We're sliding the right foot back in a modified side plank. Either kick that left leg back behind you, a little like a bicycle kickstand, or have it more underneath of you to challenge your balance even more. Look at the left hand. You might notice it's like really far in front of you, super far behind you. Just try to get your palm right underneath that shoulder socket. And then again, feel like the left hand is going to dial outward, and that's what helps hug your shoulder blade onto that rib. Right knee comes down, right hand comes down, quadruped, then thread the needle, it's a twisted upper body quadruped, right arm comes under the left arm. You're coming down onto that right shoulder blade. You can breathe through the lips. Try to, for this one at least, just keep your left palm next to your face so that you have it for coming back up. And then we're going to press into the left hand and rise back up. Right hand comes down, left hand is down. Quadruped, top the toes, hoist the pelvis high into the air. Woo! So from down dog, walk your hands back towards your feet. over your thighs. Squeeze your butt muscles, lift your pelvis while pressing into the feet. And at the same time, grab the floor even more with either your fingertips or your palms that are on the ground. Feel just this happy squat, this length of spine. Just taking 2 more breaths here. Big inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Try to balloon up into your back. Exhale. Pull deeper into your belly. Then walk the hands forward all the way into plank. Find yourself in this plank, strong in those glutes. Walk the hands back into squat at the back of the mat. Heels land just as far back as they go. It's fine if it's just like halfway back. Walk the hands forward, back into plank. So just stabilizing these shoulders a little bit more. It's the same principle in down dog. Holding those scapulas steady on the back ribs. Walk it back. So the last time we're walking back in the squat, of course, fingertips are welcome here. Get your butt over your heels. And then walk it forward into that plank. From this plank, lower your knees, lower all the way to the ground. Head of the arm bones stay lifted. Let's all go really wide with our hands. So our fingers are in line with our shoulders, elbows pointing up. Your fingers are probably off of the mat. You can even tuck your toes here, but then relax your forehead down. Cobra with the fingertips tented on the ground. So inhale, root the tailbone, pull the shoulders back. It might automatically lift your chest, but still see if you can kind of keep your chin tucked in towards the chest. Root your tailbone and lift the belly. And then lower down, hands come down underneath the shoulders, lift, downward facing dog. So just like we did before, step the left foot forward, about halfway up the mat. Land it directly underneath the left hip. So look really far forward, maybe scoot it back just a little bit. Then look at your hands. We're gonna lift the right leg, bring the weight over top of the hands and that left foot. Standing L here, so you're spreading the toes, hands are directly under the shoulders, feel the belly lift. You might even try to bend your left knee enough that you're touching the left side of your rib cage on top of the left side of the top of the thigh. Then lower the right foot down, scoot the right hand back, twisted crescent. Left hand comes to the right glute, lift that right glute up, lean into that right hand, maybe reach the left arm up to release the right ear. We set up for this just a moment ago in that previous little sequence. Now we're really feeling that twisted crescent. Then we're going to bring the right knee down behind the left ankle for a fake seated twist. Go all the way to the back of the mat. So you're sitting on your bum facing the back of the mat. Your hands are going to be down underneath you. Your feet are, at the back of the mat, but they're pointed forward. Now, bring your hands directly underneath your shoulders here. And pushing your hands and your feet equally, lift your hips. We'll reverse tabletop, and then we'll bring it back down. Your butt can touch, little lift. Doesn't have to be super high, but can touch and lift. Keep grabbing the floor with your fingertips and really plug your hands into the mat. Don't let those arms roll forward. Try to hug them back onto those back ribs. So like your fingers might face the same way as your toes. They might turn out a little bit. They might even face behind you. You do what feels comfortable for you. I'm definitely okay with all of those like finger positions. Just grab that floor. Hug those shoulder blades onto those back ribs. Bring your butt down, and then we're going to flip it around to the right, so just, or to the left, but follow your right arm around. It doesn't really matter. Just come into down dog and flip around. All right, everybody, back in that downward facing dog. Walk the hands back. Get our happy squat. So butt comes over top of the heels. Palms are down, or you can be up on your fingertips. Again, your hands don't have to get back all the way, but try to get your butt over top of your ankles and your heels here. Bend your knees as much as you have to make it happen. So inhale, fill up your back like it's a big balloon. Exhale, pull in your belly button into the low back and really lengthen that space. One more. Walk the hands forward into plank. You might even need to adjust your feet a little bit. That's A-okay. And then walk it back, happy squat. So you land your heels, you bend your knees, and you get your butt over top of your ankles. You walk it forward, plank. Hold those shoulder blades on those back ribs. Feel the femur bones moving back into the hip creases. Walk it back in happy squat. So femur bones move back, you gotta bend the knees. Flex those hips to do it. You're gonna walk it forward one more more time into that plank. Lower, knees are not, head of the arm bones stay lifted. Hands stay where they are, but go wide with them. Fingertips are on the ground, elbows point out. It's kind of like you're making like an M shape with your arms. You can relax your forehead down to start, tuck the toes even, pull the hands back, feel the shoulder blades draw back, root your tailbone to your heels and lift your belly into your low back. Now the head might lift, but still kind of let the chin draw in towards the chest. We're really just getting a nice opening in the chest and shoulders. Then lower, hands come down, lift, downward, facing dog. Walk those toes in just a little bit here. So one time here, step the right foot underneath the right hip. If you went too far, that's okay. Just scoot the right foot back a little bit. Pull with your hands to bring your chest over top of the palms. The left leg lifts, standing L. Maybe bend your right knee even more in order to connect the right thigh onto the ribs. Because eventually that's where that tip into your shoulders will come from that connection of your leg onto the thighs. We're not going to quite do that today though. We'll bring the shoulders over top of the palms. And then from here, lower your left knee down behind the right ankle. It's a fake seated twist. So you're turning all the way to the back of the mat, sitting on your bum. So hands can come down, fingers can face outward, in the opposite direction as the toes. They can face the same way as the toes. But wherever you are, plug into those hands, grab the floor with the fingertips, and lift your hips at the same time, pull your shoulders back. Keep the chin tucked in, bring it down. So lift, just for these lifts at least, and then bring it down. As the heads drop back, and I've already got like your low back and spinal extension, and chances are the head drop back, I find, also makes people roll their shoulders inward. So it's not until you're really lifted and those shoulders are back that I let people drop the head. Let's just get one more. There'll be an opportunity for that, but just not here. And then lower it. Let's spin around just the opposite way. If you can even remember, come into down dog. All right, nice job, everybody. Big breath in. And then from here, just a couple of times, let's walk our down dog. So left foot forward, right hand forward, left hand forward, right foot forward. Back and forth a few times, like a baby bear walk, you know. You could think of it, like elephant walk too. Make sure you're going opposite hand, opposite leg. Just trying to talk and explain it. I find myself, syncing up. For some reason, my right side really wants to sync up. The left side's doing a pretty good job of staying opposite. The right side keeps wanting to link up. Come on up to the top of the mat. Really nice, everybody. Rise on up. We're gonna do one final sequence to tie everything together here. So do what you need to collect and get ready. There'll be a few new moves that are coming in here. We have done everything already today. Our new moves are really like a combination of different moves. And so some of our sequences will even be in a different order. That's why we do this stream, to just get to run over all the moves again, to reprogram everything neurologically in the brain so that we can really set like this like road mapping down. And we can get this clear mind, body, muscle connection. Oh my gosh. So I realized I forgot a twisted crescent. So everybody, before we go anywhere, just step your left leg back. Bring your left hand down onto the floor. Bring your right hand around onto the left glute. And now we're gonna get our twisted crescent just on the left side. So lean into your left shoulder, rotate open in the ribs, release your left ear to the left shoulder. Feels good, you can reach your right arm up. Oh, slide out through the mouth. So don't let your left hip dip though, like really notice that. The reason is because I want your low back to stay actually pretty straight and strong so that you get the rotation around your thoracic spine, which is so much more mobility than your low back does. So it's designed to move. Your low back's really more like designed to stabilize, to take load. So we want to protect it so it can take those loads when it needs to. All right, everybody actually walk your hands around to the left. We'll just do some side lunges to even that out on the hips. So you're just side lunging. I'll turn to the side to get this point across. We want to sit our hips back in space for a side lunge. So really notice if your knee is shooting over top of your toes. It's okay, but you're going the wrong way now. Not necessarily a one-way street, but it's like one of those streets in Philadelphia. You look at it, you're like, oh, this probably should be one way. How does two cars go down this? Same way with your leg bone. You really want to try and move that femur bone back into the hip instead of pushing it forward into the knee. It's kind of like going the awkward way down that street. All right, now let's come to the top of the mat. All right, everybody. Good job coming along with me with that little improvised twisted crescent. But now we are definitely prepared for our stream. So come on up to the top of the mat and let's get ready to go with this thing. Leave a little space for the fingertips or hands to connect into the ground. Remember, we're training our down dogs, so you're going to need it for those shoulders to feel connected onto the back ribs. Inhale, reach the arms forward and up. Exhale, into the hips. Hands come down, or fingertips. Right foot steps back. Right toes can stay tucked, but right knee comes down. Hands come in front of the chest. So we're just doing like this double stop right there position. Pull the shoulder blades together, get that little retraction, and then feel those shoulder blades pull down towards the hips. A little shoulder blade depression. We're going right into downward facing dog. So hands land, plant those palms firm, and then step your left foot back to meet the right as you hoist the pelvis up into the air. So it's just regular old down dog. Hands are on the ground, feet are on the ground. Weight is equal between the hands and the feet. Push into those palms, push into the big toe mounds. Feel like you're trying to pull your leg bones up deeper into the hip socket. Feel like your palms are plugging into that floor and lifting your forearms away from the floor. Big dial the left hand out to the left, the right hand out to the right. One time here, keep that right hand firmly on the ground. Bring the left hand to grab that right leg. Twisted down dog. Look under that right shoulder. And then we'll bring the left hand down. Right arm reaches towards that left leg. We'll twist it down dog. A little extra stabilization for the left shoulder. Right hand comes down. Left foot steps about halfway up the mat. And then step it back into down dog. Don't lift the palm. Left foot steps about halfway up the mat. And then step it back to down dog. Left foot steps about halfway up the mat. Step it back to down dog. Standing L. Left foot steps about halfway up the mat. Pull your chest over your palms and lift your right leg. Downward facing dog. Right foot to the back of the mat. Left foot steps back to meet it. Your chest really doesn't change that much. Just like where it is in space. Left foot steps forward. Standing L. Pull the chest over the palms. Right leg lifts. Right glute is working here. One more big breath in. And then right toes land, turn to the right, side lunge to the right. So we're just here at these side lunges. Now we're doing them again. Side lunge to the left, side lunge to the right. We'll go back and forth between the two. Feel free to take a breath or two on one and then go into the other one, or to move through them a little bit more fluidly, you know? Whatever your body's really calling for at this moment. You need a little more cardio? Woo, quicker, right? You need to slow down and feel a little slower. We got a little something for everyone here. We'll walk our hands back around to the front of the mat. Your right hand is down, your right knee is down. So we're here getting ready for modified side plank. Left leg goes back. Feel free to kick that right foot behind you as a little bicycle kickstand, or keep it right underneath you for more challenge. Left knee comes down next to that right. Thread the needle, so the left arm right away, coming underneath that right arm. We slide it through. Then press into that right hand, load the right hip. We're coming back to modified side plank. Left leg goes back. I like my left hand on my left hip just to really help me stabilize that there. But you are welcome to lift it up into the air. Left knee comes next to the right knee like a quadruped, but we're going straight to thread the needle. So we're sending the left arm through. Right shoulder blade is waking up and working for us. Pressing the right hand. Last time, for that modified side plank, right hand really grabs the floor. Left knee comes down. Thread the needle. Press into that right hand to lower yourself down. And then press into that right hand to pick yourself back up. I lied. There's one more modified side plank. Left foot goes back. Hold that there. Core is on. Now step the left foot up to the right hand and open up for your goddess. We're doing some side bending in our goddess. So sit into that goddess. Again, know that most importantly to me is your pelvis is neutral, your core is on. So if really wide and low makes you pop your ribs, you've got to do this. Got to step in and narrow that stance a little bit, get your core engaged. Now, because this is really what it's all about, left forearm to left thigh, reach the right arm over. Side bending. Come back up, goddess. Right forearm to right thigh, left arm reaches over. Do that like 3 times each. Kind of like our side lunges. You're welcome to like maybe gather 2 breaths. If you really feel like that side needs a big opening, a little extra love. Don't let your ribs pop here either. It's very easy to forget about that. Squeeze them out. Don't chest burst it. Big windmill. Back to the front of the mat. Right hand lands inside this left foot. Right toes are back and down, pressing into the ground. Left hand can check that right glute. Lift it up. Maybe the left arm reaches up, twisted crescent. You can also step your left foot about halfway back and turn your toes out to the left, coming onto the outside edge. So it's the pinky edge side of each foot. Now really lean into your right arm and lift your right hip away from the floor. You gotta look at that right hand for a moment and really feel like yourself dialing that right hand out. And it doesn't actually move. Plug all those spots where your fingers plug into the palm down into the ground. One more breath here. And then bring your right knee behind the left ankle. Fake seated twist, reverse table, facing the back of the mat. So your hands are down again. Fingers can be pointed the same way as the toes, a little bit out to the side or back behind you. You decide what feels comfortable for you here. We're gonna lift and lower a couple times, and then an option to hold. Just hold it as high and just feels good for you to hold it. Don't worry about how high up it is. Feel the pose fully. Don't just aspire towards something that, I don't know, who cares, right? Everybody's different. So put the hands and the feet pressing into the ground. We're gonna lift our hips up. So it might just be this and bring it down. You're gonna lift your hips up. It might be as high as Allie's going. That's fine. She's done a lot to open up those hips. She's been showing up every single week. She's got those open shoulders still. It takes a little bit longer sometimes. It's A-okay. So if you want to, hold this. Feel that power here. Your butt could be a little bit lower. But if your hips are able to get up in line with the knees, then when you really feel your shoulder blades on your back ribs, then you can drop your head. Because now I don't have to worry about the front of my shoulder heads rolling in. I've already really secured them on there. But the chin tucked in again, it's going to do a lot to really help you kind of maintain that. Okay, everybody, come all the way down. Let's flip around. So follow that right arm around the left, do downward facing dog. Really, really nice. Walk the hands back. One happy squat here. First, bring your butt over your heels. Spread the toes, press into your feet. Squeeze your butt muscles, and then use that squeeze of the butt muscles to lift your hips high. And then with the hands on the ground, walk your fingertips forward. Really creepy crawl those fingertips forward until you get your ribs on your thighs. That's actually super important. You're not going to get the stretch the same way if you don't touch your ribs to the thighs. Creating co-contraction of the core. So it's traction here on the ribs. You sit your butt as low as it has to be. Release your neck. Keep pressing into the feet. Keep lifting your butt high. Keep squeezing that belly in. So again, breathe into your back like it's a balloon. Pull the belly in. Walk the hands forward into plank. Lower the knees, lower all the way to the ground, and the arm bones stay lifted. You can keep the forehead down, cobra pose, pull the hands back, lift the belly, root the tailbone, and then lift, downward facing dog. Check in here, walk the feet in, weight is equal in the hands and the feet. Why? Because I'm gonna make you walk with it. So walk the dog, left foot back, right hand back, right foot back, left hand back. And obviously everyone's going to be limited to different amounts of space, but you can go off your mat a little bit. You can go a little to the side if you want, like a square dancing, down dog. Come on up to the top and stand up tall. We'll finish up our second side. So get yourself, again, a little bit of space at the top of the mat. Feet aren't exactly at the top, because we want a little room to land those hands down. Inhale, arms reach forward and up. Exhale, into the hips. Fingertips or hands connect to the ground. Already feel your scapula interacting with the floor. Left foot goes back, left knee comes down. Toes can stay tucked or they can untuck. Bring the palms in front of the chest here. Take a double. Stop, please. And then retract. Put the pressure of the shoulder blades down the back. Bring the palms onto the floor. Before we go back to that down dog, I want you to look at the left hand. Think you can dial the left hand out to the left. Think you can dial the right hand out to the right. Lifting the left knee off of the ground, step the right foot back and hoist your pelvis up high, downward facing dog. Take a breath in here. Look at your hands for a moment, pushing your hands. Feel the energy, like your forearms are lifting away from the floor. Pushing the toes, feel like you have really high stockings on, and you're trying to hug and pull those stockings on your thighs up into your pelvis. So energetically get that lift up and into the sacrum. And then from here, one time, bring the left hand, grab hold of that right leg,
Stabilize that right shoulder. Look through the right arm. Bring that left hand down. Bring the right arm to the left leg. Stabilize the left shoulder. So keep hugging that left hand on the ground and feel like you're dialing it out. Right hand comes down. Right foot is going to step halfway up the mat. Then step it back with regular down dog. Step the right foot forward. Halfway up the mat. Palms do not let. And step it back. Step the right foot forward. In fact, bad cue. Just as far forward as it'll go. And then step it back. Step the right foot forward. Standing L. Load the right leg. Pull your chest over your hands. And then even pop up onto your right toes. Left foot comes down. Right foot steps back. Downward facing dog. Last one. Right foot steps about halfway up. Standing L. Lift the left leg. Pull your chest over top of that void between the hands. Feel that breath filling. Again, fill up your back like it's a balloon and exhale, pull into the core. Lower the left leg down, side lunge to the left. So walk your hands to the left, side lunge to the left, side lunge to the right. You can go a little quicker with it. You can go a little slower. If you want to go a little slower, you can go a twist in by lowering left hand down, releasing the left ear, right arm comes up, just like 2 breaths. And you can get the right hand down with the left arm up, and just like 2 breaths. We'll all come back around to the front of the mat. Left hand is down, left knee comes down, modified side plank. Remember, we're transitioning in this one, so let's set it up. Left hand's on the ground, left hand is pressing into the ground. Feel like you can dial out, hug that left shoulder blade on the back ribs. Right hand can either be on the right hip or it can be reaching up, but keep your low ribs contained here, just like that goddess, right? We're gonna bring the right knee down next to the left knee, thread the needle. So right arm comes underneath that left arm, right shoulder touches for a moment, then pressing that left hand, hoist the right side of the pelvis on top of the left side of the pelvis and root your tailbone towards your right leg to do that. And then right knee comes down next to the left. That right hand comes through, thread the needle. Hey, what's up, Bailey? We're gonna press into that left hand and then kick that right leg back. We'll bring that right knee next to that left shoulder. Bring that right shoulder underneath, press into that left hand. We'll kick that right leg back. So we're in that modified side plank. Core is on, ribs are in. Step your right foot up to your left hand and we'll open up for our goddess. This time in that goddess, we're just gonna sit those hips down. Again, you can always walk your feet in a little bit closer, raise up a little bit higher in your goddess. Find a neutral pelvis. Remember, we don't wanna pop those ribs out. We're gonna keep them nice and contained here. We'll bring our left forearm onto our left thigh. Reach the right arm over, a little side bend there. Come back through center. Right forearm over the left thigh, reach it over, bring it back through, left forearm, left thigh, reach that right arm over, we'll come back through, right forearm, right thigh, left arm reaches over. Let's get one more, each way, left forearm to left thigh, right arm reaches over, and then come back through, right forearm to right thigh, left arm reaches over. Follow that left hand all the way back down and around. We have our twisted crescent. Left hand is down, right foot is out wide. You bring that right hand around onto the left glute. Reach that right arm up. We're pressing into that left big toe. Thank you so much. We're going to lean into that left shoulder blade, hug that left shoulder blade back down onto the back ribs. Again, your right hand can be directly on top of that left glute, but just really push that toe, that lifting up. Take another big breath in here. And then it's going to be that fake seated twist. So bring your left knee just like down behind the right ankle, but then you're swinging your right leg all the way back around to the back of the mat. We'll have our hands down under the shoulders. Fingers will face whatever weight really feels comfortable for them. And then again, don't worry about how high up you go. Just keep that chin tucked in, pushing the hands and the feet equally. Hug those shoulder blades onto the back ribs and lower. Push the hands and feet equally. Lift the hips. One more time. Push, lift, maybe hold your lift. Feel like you could dial the hands out. Really grab those fingertips into the floor. Hug those shoulder blades onto the back ribs. And yeah, if you want to drop the head when the hips are lifted, then you can. But I don't recommend doing it if you still feel like your shoulders are rounded forward. Really hug those things back. And then bring yourself down. We're going to come back to downward facing dog. Follow the left arm around to the right. Down dog. Walk the hands back. Happy squat. Butts right over top of the heels. Spread the toes. Pull that belly onto the back ribs. Everything's lifted. Glutes are squeezing. Press into the heels. Lift the glutes high. Relax your forehead. You can release the neck. Keep squeezing your butt. So if you stretch the back chain of the legs, it's so important to keep that connection, that engagement going to the glutes. That will give you more permanent, longer lasting length. It'll also honor overstretch stuff that will never go back to being tight again if we stretch it too much. We want to protect that stuff and keep it at a good, healthy range of motion. Walk the hands forward, come into your plank, lower the knees, lower all the way to the floor. Head of the arm bone stay lifted. That is not going to change all class, ever. We'll bring ourselves into cobra with the forehead relaxed. Pull the hands back, just feel the shoulder blades pull down on the back ribs. Root your tailbone. And then lift, downward facing dog. Perfect timing, buddy. Now we're going to walk our dog. So now we're going back with the left hand, back with the right hand, forward with the right, back with the left. We're just walking it out. Oh no! Knocking things over as we go. You do a little walking? Yeah! No, just feeling lazy. That's okay. He's like, that's weird. All right. All right, everybody. Walk your dog until you come to the middle of the mat. Then we'll lower the knees down, find a quadruped, and we'll do a little bit of movement with the cat. So we'll pull our chest forward, we'll cow pose, pushing the hands, spread the shoulder blades. We do that a few more times, cat and cow. So this is the cow, pull the chest forward. Don't let your core go. We'll thump into your low back, pushing the hands, spread your shoulder blades. So when that core lets go, we go into that low back. We're gonna untrain our dog. We're gonna teach it bad habits. No, we've got to be consistent. Push into the shoulders, spread it out. But it's very much the same analogy, our yoga practice and training a dog. You gotta keep on noticing these little tiny habits, these little imbalances, so that we can bring them all back together. We don't have that consistent messaging, then it just goes back to the way it is. We'll bring ourselves down onto our backs. Really good job here, everybody. And let's hit one final shavasana. Come down onto your